is the first episode of Dadish. This is going to be a podcast focused on dads for dads, hosted by myself, Ish. So today I have my friend Israel here, goes by Iz. So Iz here, he's well to a few. So Iz he's a father of a daughter, and I myself consider you to be a good father. From the conversations that we have, you telling me about everything about her. I see you constantly posting her, and not necessarily that posting means that makes you a good dad, but I do
Uh-huh.
have some friends out there that you wouldn't even know they had kids according to their social media. So it's just something that it looks like you take pride in when you post your daughter. So my first question is for you is: do you consider yourself to be a good father? And if so, or if not, tell me why.
Um, yeah, I do consider myself to be a good dad. I didn't think I was going to be. I didn't know if I was going to be. I think that's what one of the things I was scared about when first learning that I was going to have a daughter because I didn't have a dad myself. Um, I didn't know how to be one. I didn't know how to act as one. I didn't know what it was. Uh, and then it kind of just all came together once I saw her. So yeah, I think I consider myself a good dad.
Oh, good. I mean, and like I said, I do too. I mean, I see your involvement with her, and it really stands out compared to a lot of other people and their relationships with their children. Um, so let's just start from the beginning. Like you mentioned, it wasn't something that you necessarily planned out. So let's say from the beginning, when you got the news, how did that affect you?
Uh, I was mad. I was upset. And I think a typical guy reaction is when they don't want a kid is be like, well, why weren't you on the pill? Or why didn't you do something? Like, so I was mad. I think more than anything, because I'm not too in touch with my feelings, I think more than anything, I was terrified, but I didn't learn that till later on that I was acting out in these ways because I was terrified of having a child. I like to be in control of everything and I like to show control. And this is not something that I had control of. If I were to have a kid, I wanted it to be my decision. This is my time to have a kid. I will now have a kid and try to have a kid.
Mhm.
That's how I wanted it to go. And this was like, hey, one got through. Oh no, you're now gonna have a kid. And since it didn't fit my idea, since it didn't fit my plan, since it was out of my control, it really freaked me out.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it could freak you out, especially if it's something that you didn't have lined up.
Like
So
I never even wanted to have kids either, and then it
so
happened.
once you got the news that you were going to be a father, did you start planning?
No, I was in denial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't plan anything. I was in denial. I was like, I don't believe it. Uh, I don't. I tried not to. I tried to ashamedly now. I tried like putting it out of my mind and rejecting the idea.
And so was it not until the baby showed up when you decided that you can start planning, whether it be like financially, um, like just everything in general, just planning in itself, just kind of go once she got here?
Well, I think some of the planning as far as what?
Planning like your personal life, your finances.
Hmm. Um, I think being as old as I am, not having kids younger, I'm already pretty set. I think I'm a good steward financially, so that really wasn't part of the plan. But I think when I saw her, when I finally saw her, it kind of just I was like, okay, I mean, I don't have any debt, and so any money that I do have, it was just like, all right, well,
Okay, and
it's
just so
now
we can let
her.
the audience know, so how old are you when the baby was born?
I was 35 years old when the baby was
35.
born.
Okay.
Yeah, 36 now, and I'm about to be 37.
And so I know for myself when I found out that I was gonna have kids, or my wife was pregnant at the time, it didn't even cross my mind. It wasn't even a possibility that I could have a daughter. In
Uh-huh.
my mind, I thought solely I can only have a boy. Um, I remember I was talking to my mom, and it was before we found out the gender of the baby. And I was just telling my mom, like, oh, yeah, we're going to go to all these games. We're going to throw the football, and, we're using all these boy things, and we're going to be in the dinosaurs. And when I got the news that I was having a daughter, it was like a ton of bricks just hit me. You hear so many things about, boys and girls, and, I think it's a fear also that, I'm not a woman, so I don't know the things that women go through. So it was a real big blow for me. So how was it for yourself when you found out that you were gonna have a daughter?
Um, well, I didn't know I was gonna have a daughter until she was born.
Okay.
So there are very few surprises left in this world.
Mhm.
Uh, One is having a child. Right off the top of my head, I can't think of another. But very few surprises left in this world. So I didn't know for 9 months what it
Mhm.
was going to be. Me and Ashley, baby's mother, we would just say, "Hey, baby, we're gonna buy this for baby. We're gonna do this for baby," because we didn't have a name picked out. We didn't know the gender, so it was just baby to us. Even to this day, you'll hear us sometimes saying, "Oh yeah, go get baby. Oh, here's baby." Because that was her name for 10 months.
Right.
Um, but I was hoping for a boy. I wanted a boy. I had a strong biblical name picked out. It was Ezekiel Anthony Sandoval. I picked Ezekiel because he was a prophet in the Bible, and the way he preached his sermons or relayed the messages from God had a little of my personality and a little of Ashley's personality. So I really like thought into it and dug into this.
Mhm.
So I was ready for a boy. Um, Jokes on me. I've always, I've always in all my life been surrounded by women.
Mhm.
Father wasn't around, didn't have any uncles, no grandpas. It was just a matriarch of family. So it's just been nothing but girls. That was the joke I played on myself. I played myself in thinking I was gonna have a boy, and she came out a girl. So
So I take it, with having a house full of women, were they ecstatic when you found out that it was a daughter? It was a girl?
yeah, that's all I wanted to. It was just a girl.
So they got their wish and you didn't get yours.
Yeah, let's just continue this matriarchy of oppression on males. That's how I do it.
So, like you mentioned, the baby's mother. So, my understanding is that, you're not married. So,
No.
how do you navigate co-parenting? Like, do you guys discuss things in advance? Do you just do what you want to let her deal with the consequences? Does she do the same? How does that work for you guys?
For co-parenting, I think we have a really unique situation and a really unique um, relationship. I knew and I decided in my heart that if, in order for me to be a good dad, like I wanted to be, I need to be good to Ashley. And I think those things go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. And so that was what I decided in my mind is I want to be a good dad. I need to be good to Ashley. And then Ashley and I both come from my charger broke and so it's bent and messed up.
No worries.
Yeah, so me and Ashley both come from broken homes. And again, something we talked
Mm-hmm.
about, we knew it's not something we wanted to raise Adeline in. So no matter what, everything we did and how we are with each other was for Adeline, but also because we love each other. Ashley's very dear to my heart. I love her and I know she loves me. And so when you put things into perspective and you know, like this is our end goal is to raise a daughter and know that her parents love each other and that we love her, then she's going to be a good human being.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can definitely relate. I mean, I grew up in a broken home also, so going back and forth on the weekends and summers, it was terrible. It was wouldn't want to be an experience that I would want my put my children through. So, for the
Yeah.
sake of that, I mean, I definitely try to make things work for their benefit. I mean, don't get me wrong, me and my wife have a great relationship together, but that's also something that crosses my mind. The age that my kids are at now are the same age that I was when my parents split up. And, I remember going through all those situations and how it impacted me and, moving schools so often. And it's terrible, and I understand that when, people split up, they don't do it for for the, they don't do it for the reason of the children. They do it because their relationship isn't working out. But I don't know. I think sometimes maybe if they take children's I guess feelings or the impact into consideration, maybe it might go a little bit further, at least try to figure out a solution where it's not just see you on the weekends and that's it kind of thing. So she may not see it or understand it now, but definitely in the future that'll definitely be remembered and thought of.
It's all sacrifice too,
Yeah.
being able to sacrifice myself for my daughter. Ashley doing the same thing. Sometimes I'll sacrifice more. Sometimes Ashley will sacrifice more. But we still have that understanding that we're going to sacrifice anything for her, and it ends up working out.
Right.
And it has been working out great for us.
So let's go back a little bit. And when your child's mother was pregnant and people found out that you were having a kid, were you getting told like stories about like, oh man, like this is how it's gonna be whenever the baby gets here? And if you did hear stories like that, what did you hear? And then, well, let's just take it from there. Did you hear any stories like that?
Um, I mean, I think I did. There were stories like, "Oh, your life's gonna change. It's never gonna be different." All the cliches that you hear.
Mm,
The thing
mm,
about cliches is, they're cliches because they're true. Uh, but stories, I was told stories about, oh, if it's a little girl, you're gonna be wrapped around her finger, and if it's
mm,
a little girl, it's so much different than having a little boy, and it's gonna be this way. And I mean, I heard it and I took it in, but there's really no way for me to process that. You can
right.
try and be as ready as you possibly can and hear all the stories and get all the advice, but none of that none of that really does anything until you're actually at that moment.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree 100%. There's definitely a lot of stories I heard. And it's very similar. They're like, oh, the baby's gonna be wrapped around, or if it's a girl, she's gonna be wrapped around your finger and you can do whatever they want, kind of stuff like that. I mean, I hear that stuff. It kind of sits over my head because it's like, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me and I'm gonna stick to what my values are and I'm gonna take care of my child the best of my ability. And I'm not gonna fall in line with whatever these, stories or misnomers
Yeah.
maybe that are out there. So I can relate. So let's see. What other questions I have here for you?
I always thought that when I was told things would be different, I'd be like, I'm gonna be me, like you said. Nothing's gonna change. I'll still have, I'm still gonna do this, and I'm still gonna go do that, and yeah, it's just gonna have a baby. And again, I played myself, because yeah, those are things I want to do, but I'd rather just do it with the baby and Ashley.
Mm.
And the
So,
baby's name is Adeline. Adam, you see? Adam, and I'd rather do things with Addie Girl and Ashley than some of these other things.
right. So your child she's how old now?
She just turned 2 on the 23rd.
Just turned 2. Okay. So when she gets a little older, do you plan on putting her like in activities, like sports, anything like that?
I I want to put her in things that are going to help her, challenge her, give her some good eye-hand coordination. Ashley and I have talked about different things. Not really like gymnastics, only because that bastard Larry Nasser put a bad taste in my mouth. The
Yeah.
one from the
No.
Olympics
Hmm.
that pissed me off. But also that ruins their joints and kind of like destroys them at a very young age. Maybe soccer because that's good eye-hand coordination. Volleyball. I don't like the outfits that they make them wear.
Hmm.
um, maybe basketball. Yeah, we've talked about like what kind of things that we would put her in. Maybe dance or something like that.
So, I mean, you just mentioned the outfit. So when it comes to like wardrobes, are you involved a lot in the stuff that she wears?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mainly because I'm a sneakerhead, and so
Right.
I want her to always have some Jordans on, regardless of what the outfit is. A cute
Right.
dress for Christmas, there's Jordans for that.
Right. Fresh
If
kicks.
it's an Easter dress, there's Jordans for that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I'm the same way. I try to be involved with what the girls are wearing. Sometimes, my wife will be in a rush trying to get them dressed and the shirt or the skirt that they may be trying to put on is from last year. It's gotten just a little bit too small. And I'm like, I'm sorry, we're not stepping out in that today. Like, I'm gonna put my dad foot down here and we're not going there. And my wife will look over and she's like, okay. She's like, that's fine. She understands. We try to be a little bit on the safe side with them. I don't feel comfortable with my children, going out wearing like crop tops in public. And I understand that, some people, they don't really care so much about what their kids wear and their appearance and so forth. And we're definitely the opposite. We try to stay on top of, what they're wearing, making sure they look appropriate. If we're going out to, church, making sure they wear, nice looking clothes and not just some grass stained jeans and stuff. We want them to be, looking good for the situation.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%.
I know it.
You
I
can't.
know it. Go ahead.
You can't be looking great and then your kid looking all jacked up and raggedy. I hate seeing that, man.
Yeah.
I get that bad judgy parent thing when I see somebody all done up and pretty and fixed up with a clean shave and cut, and then their daughters just or their kids just goes everywhere and hair everywhere.
Yes.
Like, nah.
Yep.
I
Yep.
get very with that when I see that.
Yep. I'm with you. So I know it's far from now, but has the thought ever crept into your mind about when your daughter decides to start dating?
No, 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 no. I can't even fathom that, dude. I can't even fathom it because she's only 2. I can't even fathom what she's gonna be like at 4 or 5.
Mhm.
And then people always say like, enjoy this time with her, like enjoy this time because it goes by so fast and you'll miss
Mm,
it. So instead of thinking about the future, what she's gonna be doing, I really try to engulf myself into the now. Uh, when I was posting for her birthday, and I saw a comparison of when she was 1 to when she was
mm,
2, and
mhm,
huge difference when she was at Build-A-Bear. Somebody commented and said, "Time is a thief,"
mm.
and that
Yeah.
really resonated with me. So I was like, "They're absolutely right. Time is a thief." So instead of thinking about the hypotheticals and thinking about some of the future things like that, I'd rather just focus right here on the now.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you. I mean,
So this guy one time was like, "Oh, she's very pretty. You're gonna have to watch out with her." And I was like,
mm,
please don't sexualize my 1.5-year-old daughter. That's weird to me."
yeah.
And he
Yeah.
like snapped them because they always think that people always want to be throwing babies out there. Like, let them be babies.
Right.
Nobody needs to worry. Don't sexualize my daughter. Ugh. It made me mad. I didn't like it.
Yeah. So my daughter, my oldest, she's in first grade, and I think it was like right at the beginning of the year, she told me that one of her classmates has a boyfriend, and I was like, "What did you just say?" I'm like, "We're not crossing that road right now. Like, you're not allowed. I don't want to hear it." And like, it's just
Google, start homeschooling.
yeah, definitely. It wasn't anything that I wanted to, put myself in envisioning at that moment. And it was really off-putting. I was like, I just told her straight up, like, I'm sorry, like this is a situation that we're gonna be able to get into right now. Just know the answer is no. Uh so my next question for you is, since we've been talking about everything from, from the beginning when you found out to, how you handled the situation to your co-parenting and this how you're so involved with her life at the moment. Do you have any advice for someone that's getting ready to either have a child or maybe planning to have a child in the near future?
Hmm. I think. Hmm. Advice, advice, advice. Well, hmm. I would say, kind of like what I did was enjoy every single moment. What I really miss with my daughters when she was actually able to be just right here. But as soon as they start walking, you never get that moment
Mm,
anymore. Um, my advice would also be, uh, you know what I think is a lot of problem. My advice, I think, if it was a man, was just make sure your stuff's in order so that you can be the man that you should be,
Mhm.
but also be hands on. Um,
Mhm.
Ashley hears a lot from other mothers how fathers just aren't hands on. They won't change diapers. They won't help clean up. They won't help do this and they won't help do that. I mean, it makes me look good because I'm very hands on. But yeah, try to be as helpful as possible because a kid can really alter and change the marriage or the relationship with people, and they don't realize that. And that's mainly because women will take most of the work and responsibility uh,
Mm.
of taking care of the child. But if you're able to change pampers and take the baby and give mom a break, and mom can leave without worrying, does he know how to feed her, does he know how to change her, like that's, I don't like that. Incompetent fathers is not something I ever wanted to be.
Mm.
But yeah, so I guess that was a lot, but I guess my advice would just be as helpful and hands-on as possible to be a partnership, tag team, taking raising a child and taking care of a baby.
Yeah, I can definitely co-sign with that. For myself, it was the exact same. I love to be hands-on. That's where I'm at. I remember, so my wife, she ended up having a C-section, and it was a very long process. It was an emergency C-section on top of that. So she was down
Uh,
for the first 24 hours with trying to recover. So when it came to changing the baby, holding the baby, doing all that, my wife wasn't really in a physical position to be able to do that. So I jumped in and did that. I have nieces and nephews that I help raise. So, changing diapers and feeding babies was second nature to me. It wasn't anything that was foreign. So when my mother-in-law would come into the room, they would just be like blown away. They're like, "You know how to do this? Like, how do you do this?" And I'm like, this is nothing new. This is just who I am. And
yeah,
but the thing is, I think with the previous generation than our own, it was a lot of like hands off, like let's let the woman
that's,
take care of it, and we'll be over here, drinking a beer, watching the game, and
yeah,
that
that's true.
that's that's not so much how my father was, but that's definitely not how I am, and so I kind of picked up the cues from him, and so yeah, I mean, 100% without being that involved father in the situation, it definitely does put a strain on the relationship. And I mean, things can go from good to bad really quick when it comes to that. So I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate the advice, giving that out to the viewers and let everyone know because it's true, it's real. When the mom gets stressed out, I mean, the person they're going to take it on is going to be the partner and not definitely not the baby. So,
Have you seen? There was a reel that was out, and it showed like a mom with the baby, and they're at a dinner table, and she's eating, and she's trying to feed the baby too. And it said something like, even married women can be single mothers. So it
mm,
shows her like
wow.
struggling with the baby, feeding him, and then the dad's just like chilling, just like, yeah, life is good. I'm gonna eat my food and be all right. Uh, and I was like, this is crazy. It was even circulated, among some of my friends, and they were like, this is me, and this is what I do, and I'm like, yeah, that's. I don't like that. I don't like
Yeah.
that at all.
Yeah, I don't like that either. I mean, I think it's an old mentality that's out there, and some people think it's cool, but I think it's like furthest from the truth.
I
Um,
will try to like swallow my food and engulf it just so that I can then get the baby when she was younger. Now she's a little better. And then so Ashley could then enjoy her food.
yeah, it's definitely nice when they can start feeding themselves.
Yeah, dude. Here,
It's like just
no,
cut
no,
up in
no.
little pieces. You're like, here you go, enjoy your meal. Don't
Make a
choke.
mess for the waiter, not me.
Yep. Well, I just want to say, thank you for your time. Thank you for answering these
Yeah,
questions. And, I really hope that this information gets out to, the right viewers so they can understand that, being a father is more than just sitting back and watching the game. It's being involved, being hands-on, because it's something that your child's going to remember for the rest of their life. So, that concludes our first episode of
cool,
Dad-ish.
man. Awesome.
So, all right. Appreciate it. And